Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English, Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah Waqia, wonderful, amazing chapter reminding us of the inevitable event, the day of judgment, where all of mankind will be divided into two main groups, the believers and the unbelievers. And within the believers, there are those are the companions of the right hand, the Ashab al-Yamin, and then those, the Mukarrabun, those foremost in faith, right? But within paradise, within Jannah al-Firdaus, we know that there are various ranks and categories through the grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Baqiyah, the inevitable event, verse number 27. The companions of the right hand, Ashab al-Yamin. What will be the companions of the right hand? They will be among lote trees without thorns, among talha trees with flowers of fruits piled one above another, in shade long extended. Now this word is so beautiful. Can you imagine there's no direct sunlight onto your face? You're not going to get tired. You're not going to get lethargic. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day. Every single day in paradise is exactly what you wanted. Try and imagine the best day of your life when you are on the planet Earth. Which weather system do you love? And which day was the best day? Whether it is your wedding day or any other day, maybe you graduated from college or university, but try and think of a day. Maybe you're driving a car, you woke up early, and you saw there's a slight cloud, maybe a slight drizzle, and you really, really love it. Or maybe you find that, like for myself personally, I don't like intensely hot days. I cannot handle heat. And I don't like extremely freezing cold days. I like something in between. Little bit overcast, I love that. Now in paradise, you have things like little bit overcast. You're not going to get the direct sunlight into your face. There'll be shade long extended. You can sit under there. You can go riding with your horses. You can go running. You can be playing tennis there. You can play tennis for as much as you want to. You're not going to get sunburn. You can sit on the beach for as long as you want to. You're not going to get sunburn on the beach. You're going to get shade long extended there. Beautiful place of bliss and wonder. By water flowing constantly, and I love this so beautifully. Imagine there's no shortage of water. It'll be pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping non-stop. We cannot even imagine the size of paradise. I mean, our entire universe, the world that we are living in, the trillions of galaxies with trillions of stars and suns and the quintillions of planets, all of that is one universe. That is heaven number one. It is the lowest heaven. And Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sallam told us that heaven number two is so big that heaven number one in comparison is like a coin in the desert or like a ring in the desert. Now you can fit 1,000,000,000,000 rings in the Sahara desert. That means heaven number two is trillions of times bigger than heaven number one. That means in heaven number two, there are trillions of universes like our universe. Each of the trillion universes got trillions of galaxies with trillions of stars and quintillions of planets. And that's just heaven number two. And heaven number three is trillions of times bigger than heaven number two. And heaven number four is trillions of times bigger than heaven number three. And heaven number five is trillions of times bigger than heaven number four. And heaven number six is trillions of times bigger than heaven number five. And heaven number seven is trillions of times bigger than heaven number six. And Jannah al-Firdaus is trillions of times bigger than heaven number 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the Sidratul Muntaha is trillions of times bigger than heaven number Jannah al-Firdaus. And the Kursi of Allah is trillions of times bigger than everything. And the Arsh of Allah is over everything, quintillions and quintillions of times bigger than everything. And the paradise that we are in Jannah al-Firdaus, which is trillions and trillions and trillions of times bigger than anything we can imagine, it's trillions of times bigger than our existing universe. Imagine it's got a limitless supply of water. 4 main rivers: pure water, pure milk, pure wine, pure honey. So while on the planet Earth you only have 1 tap at the basin, in paradise you got 4 taps. 4 taps everywhere. 1 tap for hot and cold water, hot and cold milk, hot and cold wine, hot and cold honey. 4 taps. Water flowing constantly. There's no water shortage. Water the garden, you're not going to get someone telling you, hey, there's water restriction there. The reservoirs are empty. Stop watering the garden. Stop watering the grass. No, there the trees and the flowers and the plants are dark green with constant beautiful watering. There's no shortage. You don't have to now dig a bowl looking for water. There's water in so much supply. Beautiful, sweet, beautiful tasting water flowing constantly, no shortage whatsoever, and in different ways. There's little brooks, little bit springs, and then rivers gushing and waterfalls and things we cannot imagine. But amazing, amazing water with fountains. We can imagine more beautiful than the fountains at Dubai or anywhere else you can think of. But amazing, amazing waterfalls like the Niagara Falls, or the smoke that thunders, or Victoria Falls here in Africa, but amazing, amazing waterfalls and water that you can drink. There's no pollution of water there. There won't be plastic in the water. There won't be dirt in the water. There won't be people using the river or as sewage like what we're having in our country, because in paradise, there's no sewage in paradise. No one needs to go to toilet. You don't have an anus in paradise. There's no anus available. There's a new body that you get, because the traditions tell us you eat your food. When you finish eat, your stomach is full, and then you have a little bit of sweat on your forehead, 1 drop of sweat smelling like musk, and your food is digested. Or you give it a small burp, a beautiful fragrance of musk, and your food is digested, and you start eating again. Now, if your food is digested with a small burp, it means you're not going to have a small intestine, no duodenum, no jejunum, no ileum. You don't have a large intestine. You don't have an ascending colon. You don't have a transverse colon. You don't have a descending colon. You don't have a sigmoid colon. You don't have a rectum, and you don't have an anus. That means you don't have to go to toilet. There's no diarrhea. There's no constipation. You're not even going to have urine. You don't even have a bladder. Can you imagine? So for women don't have a bladder. Women don't even have a womb, because there's no delivery of babies there. Women, because they won't have a womb or a uterus, there's no monthly menstrual cycles. Can you imagine how beautiful that body is? There's no pain. There's no monthly emotional disturbances, nothing like that. And for men, there's no bladder. You're not going to urinate. And males don't have an anus, females don't have an anus. And because you don't have an anus, what does it mean? It's impossible to have gay sex in paradise, because gay sex is forbidden. There isn't even a hole there to have sex in, because there's no anus. Can you imagine? So no one is going to contaminate the water like we're seeing in Africa, where people are dumping their loads in the rivers and contaminating, and people are getting cholera and diseases and diarrhea and so on. In paradise, everything is beautiful and perfect. Toilets are banned in paradise. You don't need toilets. There's no stinking smells in paradise. And when you walk around in the same way, we have gas bubbles here. I call it a gas, and other people call it a FART. There's no gas in paradise. Why? Because it's a place of beauty. There's no terrible smells in paradise. Everything has got a beautiful smell. The water is amazing. You don't have chlorine in that water. If you got your own swimming pool in your yard, you don't need chlorine. You don't need chemicals. Everything is organic and beautiful. Even the fruit that you are eating, there's no pesticides on that fruit. Everything is beautiful. The beautiful, most juicy. most lovely, and the best ripeness of the fruit. You don't have to wait for a few days to become a bit ripe, or maybe it's overripe and now there's worms inside it. No, there's no rotten fruit there. There's no contaminated water there. Absolutely beautiful, and there's a constant supply of water. Non-stops. Let's go to the previous verse again. In shade long extended, by water flowing constantly. Now, can you imagine you sitting by the water and you're sitting under a shade? Absolutely amazing picnic, isn't it? And fruit in abundance, whose season is not limited, nor supply forbidden. So if you want watermelon, because look, I love watermelons. And sometimes if the season is not right, you know what's the worst thing? Is a bitter tasting watermelon. I don't like bitter tasting watermelons. I love it when a watermelon is sweet and juicy and it's at the right chill. It mustn't be a hot watermelon. It must be chilled right. You know, now you want a watermelon, you got it there. You want a mango, it's there. You want a pineapple, it's there. You want figs, it's there. You want grapes, it's there. You want strawberries, it's there. Anything that you want. There's no such thing like, hey, you know what, we don't have the season for it. It's winter, man. Why? You're not going to get that fruit now. And there's no such thing like, okay, we're only going to get oranges and naartjies in winter. No, you want naartjies? It's available. You want millies? You want it available. With me, I love my grilled millies. So you want grilled millies? Yeah, here's it. It's done. You want boiled millies? Yes, it's done. Here's some salt. Put some salt on the millies. You want pineapple with some masala on it? Yes, yeah, it's available. Pineapple and masala. You know, favorite, they used to have it on the Durban beachfront. I don't know if they sell it anymore. I haven't been there in many, many years. So. But if you want pineapple and masala on it, it's available. Whatever you want, it's available immediately. Neither is it limited, nor is there any shortage. 1,000,000 people can come to the market and 1,000,000 of them will walk out happy with all the food and all the requirements with no shortage. Whose season is not limited, nor supply forbidden, and on thrones of dignity raised high. Can you imagine how beautiful this word is? Sitting on thrones of dignity, raised high. We cannot even contemplate or imagine what is this and what it means. In other places, in other narrations, we read that those who have the Hafiz al-Quran, those who have memorized the Quran, you know what kind of thrones they will have? They are raised on pulpits of light. Can you imagine what kind of throne is that? And their parents, their mother and their father, are put on these thrones of light. You know, I cannot even imagine what that means. They are raised so high on these pulpits of light. They're given crowns of dignity with honor. And look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards the people. So as a belief man, so we must do whatever we can to work towards attaining the hereafter, the paradise in the hereafter. We know that no matter what we do, paradise is very expensive. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see our niyat, and He wants to see that, you know, at least we are trying. And that's what Allah tells us so nicely. Allah loves those things. Even if it is a small thing, but as long as you do it regularly, you won't understand. You may think it's a small thing, but for Allah, it is such a beautiful thing that you are doing because you are doing it on a regular basis. Maybe you think you are only giving out one big beans a week, but every Friday you are giving it out. And you may think it's irrelevant, but maybe that's something that Allah loves. Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi said, don't hesitate, even give that half a date in charity. Don't say, no, how can I give half a date? It's very shameful. No, give it. Whatever. It doesn't mean you must only give half a date. I mean, if you can afford 1,000,000 dates, then give 1,000,000 dates. But the example is that even if you got half a date, if you got nothing, if you got no money, then at least speak a word of kindness. But sadaqah is so important. I mean, who wouldn't want to be on thrones of dignity raised high? Can you imagine the grandeur, the honor that Allah gives us, you know? And we say for us, we rather prefer getting the honor and awards from Allah in the akhirah. We don't want our gold medals and trophies. Yeah, I rather get the Academy Award in Jannah from Allah. I rather get the Olympic gold medal in Jannah from Allah instead of getting the gold medals here. Now. We rather get the presidential award in Jannah instead of running for presidential awards here in the dunya. We have created their companions of special creation and made them virgin, pure, and undefiled, beloved by nature, equal in age. And the other meaning of this is they never become old. Everyone is permanently young. You will never become old whatsoever. For the companions of the right hand, Ashab al-Yamin, a goodly number from those of old, and a goodly number from those of later times. May Allah, through His mercy, give us our book of deeds in our right hand with no accountability, so we can be companions, part of the Ashab al-Yamin and part of the Ashab al-Jannah al-Firdaus, in the company of those whom we love, in nearness to Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sallam, and with the good pleasure of our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.